Tonight we're going to be learning the second half of Daf Lamed Aleph, Lamed Beis, and as well Daf Lamed Beis, which will bring us all the way to the bottom, 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Baruch Hashem, we'll be learning tonight a couple of halachic sugyas, many hashkafa agarata sugyas in regards to Yiras Shamayim, in regards to Talmud Torah, and a whole bunch of other wonderful things. So let's get started together. I tried to pick up the pace last night, just a lot of material. I hope to be shorter this evening than last night. We're starting 2 lines from the bottom of the page on Lamed Aleph. Amud Aleph, we'll quickly turn. The Gemara here was speaking, yesterday we spoke about chumtin. Chumtin was like a glue of sorts that they would put in wheat, and it would just make it all stick together so that it wouldn't fall apart. And the Gemara was using that as a mashal for Yiras Shamayim. You can learn all of Shas, but if you have no Yiras Shamayim, so then that's a big problem. So we have to make sure that we work on our Yiras Shamayim. It is a midah that is very difficult to work on. And at the same time, there is one relatively simplistic, not to undermine the mitzvah, but there's a relatively simplistic type of yira that we could learn. And this is why the Gemara elsewhere in Maseches Nida writes that there are Gimel Shutfin B'Adam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mother and father. And when a child is taught rules of the nature which induces a degree of yira, a healthy form of yira from parents, that's a flavor of the type of yira that one should have for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So where we were raised in that way, then great. That gives a person at least the backdrop, the foundation to have healthy Yiras Shamayim. Yiras Shamayim can be thought about in a very halachic way, technical, what's the threshold? And Yira can also be thought of, I'm in a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, therefore, because of the nature of my relationship, I need to make sure that I don't do wrong by him. I need to make sure that I have the appropriate level of fear. Just another spin to look at it, which I know for myself has been very helpful. Opens the Gemara as follows. Tana debei Rabbi Shmuel, Adam kav chumtin b'kur shel tuvah ve'eno choshesh. This is a halacha in Choshen Mishpat. I'm selling you 10 pounds of wheat. Am I allowed to add in 1 pound of glue and charge that part of the weight? So I'm charging you 11 pounds because the glue is 1 pound, and 10 pounds of wheat, you're only getting 10 pounds of wheat. So it says Rashi, bottom Rashi, so this is a halachic Rashi. This applies in a lot of different areas. When what you're charging for is the shmira, so then it's okay. You go to the store, and let's say you go to a store and you're buying something in a container. You go to Great Chicago and you want to buy 2 pounds of drumettes. So they put the 2 pounds of the drumettes in the container, and they put that with the container on top of the scale. Why? I'm not paying for the container. Halacha is, look at this Rashi, this is how we keep it all together. And therefore, halacha l'maisa, to add in the chumtin, to add in the glue to the wheat is not halachically problematic. And that brings us to the very last line. Rabbi Barapuna, Kol Adam sheyesh bo Torah ve'ein bo Yiras Shamayim. Anyone who has Torah but doesn't have Yiras Shamayim, dome legizbar. It's as if you are a person who's like the treasurer. Shemasur lamaftechos hapnimios. They gave you the keys to the vault, but they didn't give you the keys to the bank. Umaftechos hachitzonos lo masur lo. Behai ayil. How in the world are you going to get in there? It's nice that you have the key to the vault. You learn Torah. That's givaldik. But you're not even in the building yet. So the key to the vault is effectively useless. Machris Rabbi Yanai chaval al delesle darta. Nebuch on the person who has a field, and yet nevertheless, the sar al darta avid, Sarah, shin in Aramaic, shin, resh, it's actually sha'ar, a gate. So you have no field, but you still built a gate, same type of mashal. The inner sanctum of our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu should be around Torah, but the gateway to get to that is Yiras Shamayim. Says the Gemara 4 lines down, Amar Rav Yehuda, Lo bara Kadosh Baruch Hu Salama Elo Kiddush Yir Milafanav. The only reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world is so that we should have a degree of fear of Him. Shneamar v'Elokima Sashi Yiru Milafanav. He made it so that we shall fear Him. Rav Simon v'Rabbi Lazar Habu Yasve. Rav Simon and Rabbi Lazar were sitting together, and Chalaf v'Azil Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha. And while they were sitting there, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha walked by them. What do we do when a Chashav Rav stands up? When a Chashav Rav walks by, is that we stand up. Amar lei chad l'chav, right? One said to their friend, we don't know who yet. We'll see soon who is who. One person said to their friend, Neku mikame, let's stand up in front of him. The gever dachil chatayin hu. That this is a man who is dachil chatayin. He fears chait, and therefore we should stand up. Amar le'idach, the other person said to his friend, Neku mikame, the gever bar urian, who from the word oraisa. No, this man, Gever, is a Bar Urian. He is a Ben Torah. He's a person who learns Torah. He knows what he's talking about. He's a Talmud Chacham. Amar le, Amina lach ana de gever dachil chatainu ve'amrisli at bar urianhu. How could you say such a thing? Meaning they're having a machlokas. What is the ikar midah? Is the ikar midah the knowledge of Torah, or is the ikar that a person should have Yiras Shamayim? So the Gemara doesn't answer this distinction other than to say that it's a corollary to everything we've been learning up until now, which is that Yiras Shamayim hi otzaro. Tistayim, the Gemara says we may be able to conclude the Rabbi Elazar of these two people who were sitting together. It was Rabbi Simon and Rabbi Elazar. We could conclude Tistayim to Rabbi Elazar who da'amar de gever dachil chatainu. That he was the one who said that we should stand up because this person is Yiras Shamayim. How do we know that Rabbi Elazar holds that way? Says the Gemara, Damar of Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Elazar, Ein lo la Kadosh Baruch Hu b'lama el Yiras Shamayim b'lvad shneimar v'atayis Rama Hashem Elokecha shu'al mi malkim li ra. Uchsiv v'yomer ala Adam hein Yiras Hashem hi chachma. How do we know that this is the case? Because Rabbi Yochanan quotes in the name of who? In the name of Rabbi Elazar, exactly who we were just talking about. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu only has one thing in his world, and it's Yiras Shamayim. The first pasuk is famous. What does Hashem ask from us? Just to fear from him. The Gemara elsewhere asked about this. This is such a small mitzvah. You're saying ki'im, just a little bit of Yiras Shamayim, and the Gemara elsewhere answered that for Moshe it was a small deal. For us, it's not a small deal. And there's another pasuk that says that it says Vayomer la'adam, he says to man, Hein. The word Hein we'll analyze shortly. Hein Yiras Hashem hi chachma. This Yiras Hashem is considered wisdom. Shekem b'lashon Yavani in Greek korin la'achas hein. There is one, going back to the pasuk to replace the word hein for achas. Achas Yiras Hashem hi chachma. There's only one Yira Tistayim. We can therefore conclude that Rabbi Elazar was of these two Tanaim who were sitting there, who were was of the opinion that Yiras Shamayim was the reason to stand up for this Rav. Two dots right about the middle of the page. Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. Darash Rav Ula. Who's Rav Ula? We always call Ula. Maybe it's a different person than one would have normally anticipated and not the same person. Unclear from the Gemara. My dechsiv al tirsha harbe. Don't be too evil. Harbe hu de lo lirsha, hame'at lirsha. So I could be a little bit of a Russia. I just can't be a very big Russia. What kind of pasuk is that? What does that even mean? Says the Gemara, Elamisha achal shum v'recho nodev. If a person ate garlic and their breath now smells of garlic, if you're going to go eat more garlic, if your breath stinks, stop eating food that makes your breath stink and go brush your teeth. The fact that you did an Aveira once doesn't mean you should do it again. So what does the pasuk mean that you should not be a big Rasha? Al tirsha harbe. It means that if you make a mistake, okay, so you're a little bit of a Rasha. It wasn't your intention, or even if it was, don't do more Aveiras. Don't compound everything. Once you do one Aveira, you should stop. Al tirsha harbe. First of the very long line, Darash Rava bar Rav Ula, another reference to the same person. Rava bar Rav Ula, Rava the Talmud of Rav Ula. My dechsiv ki ein chartzuvos lemosamu bari ulam. There's nothing that are chartzuvos. We'll see a play on words of what this word actually means. It literally translates into tying down people to death. Ubari leulam, and a healthy person to a ballroom. What does this mean? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo dain l'rashayim she'einan. Watch the play on words. Charedin va'atzevin. The word was chartzuvos. Charedin atzevin. Chartzav. All right, so that's the language in the pasuk that it's not low dayan. It's not enough l'rishayim she'enin charedin va'atzevin, that they're not trembling about their averis va'atzevin miyom hamisa, and that they're not sad about the day of death. Ella shelibam bari lahen keulam. Everything is good. Everything's going to be perfect. My whole world is a beautiful ballroom. That's their perspective. This is what Rabbi said. This is the way of the fools. Yodim Rishayim Shadarkam Lamisa. They know. V'yesh lahem chaylev al kislam. They have chaylev. They have fat covering over their bodies. It's kind of a layer to separate between the emes and the sheker is chaylev. Shema tomar shikha himehen. Maybe you'd say they really forgot. They mamish forgot. Maybe being a remez. Maybe they're tinuk shenishba. The answer is no. Talmud Lomar v'acharehem b'fiyam yirtusela. They know exactly what's going on. There's a big shaila nowadays about whether or not a person can actually halachically fall into the category of being a kofer. And the poskim discusses, can you be a kofer, can you be a min, can you be an apikoros? And it's difficult to fall into those categories because you cannot be in those categories unless you're a Talmud Chacham. If you grew up and you were not exposed to the right education, your values, your parents, whatever the sugya was by you, and you grew up not keeping, you're not a Russia. You're not a Russia. You're a Tinok Shenishba Nebach. It's unfortunate, but you're not a Russia. It's a very different category. A very different category. There is a halachic status of Russia for a person who does any one chait that passels them from Eidus, but it's a halachic status of if you violate an Isser Daras, you should not be an Eid under a chuppah. You could passel the Kedushin. Fine, that's a narrow halachic issue, but you're not categorically a Russia. You're not an apikoros. That's a difficult level to reach. 2 dots, 2/3 of the way down. Remember, we said in our Mishnah on Kaftes, Kechas al Haner, this is going back to the second of the last lines on Kaftes and Beis. We said in the middle of that Mishnah, if a person is putting out a fire because he doesn't want to burn down the candle, he doesn't want to burn down the oil, or Kechas al Psila, Chayev. We said that he's going to be Chayev. So then ask the Gemara as follows. Let's see where we are, 2/3 of the way down. At the 2 dots, 5 lines into the wide lines on Lamed Aleph Beis. Rabbi Yossi, Kechas al Haner, in all of those cases we said Chayev. Rabbi Yossi, Keman Sfir, who does he hold like? Ikra Yehuda Sfirale, Afilu Bahanach Nami Lechayev. You should be Chayev in all of the cases. And that's not the case in the Mishnah. Ikra Reb Shimon Sfirale, and if he holds like Reb Shimon, who's Rabbi Yehuda, who's Reb Shimon? Remember, we learned about this already. Rabbi Yehuda was of the opinion that if a person does a malacha for an ulterior motive, that's called the malacha she'ein tzricha l'gufa. I'm doing a malacha, but it's not for the reason of the malacha. I'm not digging a hole for the sake of the hole. I'm digging a hole for the dirt. I want to use the dirt to make a barricade around a fire. That's not an Isser D'Oraisa according to Reb Shimon. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it is. So that's what's happening here. Why am I putting out the fire? I'm putting out the fire because I don't want to burn down the candle, not because I want to be mechabe, but because I don't want to burn down the candle. That's a malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa. So says the Gemara, Ik Rabbi Yehuda svirale. If the Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah holds like the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda, that malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is chayev, then afilu b'hanach nami lechayev. You should be chayev in every case where there's an ulterior motive for what you're doing, because malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is chayev. Ik Reb Shimon svirale. But if Rabbi Yossi held like Reb Shimon, who held the malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is pater, so then psila nami li pater. Then even the case in the Mishnah where it talks about the wick, even in that case, a person should be pater. So the Gemara will give an answer here. Amar Ula, leolam Rabbi Yehuda svirale. Really, Rabbi Yehuda was of the opinion. Really, Rabbi Yossi was in our Mishnah was of the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who holds malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is chayev. Now, if we hold that like Rabbi Yehuda, that malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is chayev, then how in our Mishnah could you say pater? You did a malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa. You put it out for an ulterior motive. If Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're chayev and Rabbi Yossi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, how can Rabbi Yossi hold that you're pater? Doesn't make any sense. It says the Gemara, "V'kasava Rabbi Yossi." You're right. In general, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, but here in our Mishnah we have a narrow focused problem, very myopic, looking at one issue. What is it? V'kasava Rabbi Yossi, that in our case you're soser, you are destroying something, but it's almanas livnos. And if it's b'mekomo, if you destroy something in order to rebuild something in that same exact spot, then taka, it is an Isser D'Oraisa, have soser. But in our case, almanas livnos shelo b'mekomo, lo have soser. I'm putting out the candle here, but I may not relight it here. So I'm going to be soser. I'm breaking down the wick. I'm breaking down the candle, right? So then in that case, it's soser, but it's not, because it's only going to be soser if I'm going to relight in the same place. It says the Gemara, Almanas livnos shelo b'mekoma lo have soser, but it's still pater avalaser. So therefore, Rabbi Yossi does hold like Rabbi Yehuda that malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa is going to be chayev. Here, you're pater for a local reason, and the local reason is that when you blow out this candle, when you close everything down, your intent was to relight it, but not in the same exact space, and therefore it is not chayev, but rather pater avalaser. Asks the Gemara, that answer doesn't fly. Omar le Rabbi Michni. Let's see. Kol melachos, all of the 39 melachos yalfina lehumi mishkan. We learn all of them from the Mishkan. And what do we know about the Mishkan? The Hasan by the Mishkan. When we took down the Mishkan in the Midbar, when we were soser the Mishkan, were we going to rebuild it in the same place? Of course not. We were taking it for the Jewish people to move in the Midbar. So let's read the Gemara. V'hasam soser almanas livnos shelo b'makomohu. If you just argued that the reason why in our Mishnah Rabbi Yossi held your pater, even though he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that the reason why Rabbi Yossi held your pater is because you're being soser, but when you rebuild it will be elsewhere. That's exactly what happened in the Midbar. That's exactly what happened with the Jews when they were soser the Mishkan. It was to build somewhere else. That should be the classic Isser D'Oraisa. So if in fact Rabbi Yossi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, even if he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, we should still say you're chayiv in this case, because this whole argument that the Gemara structured about soser, the paradigm of that was Mishkan. And when we broke down the walls, we were rebuilding elsewhere. That's where we should see chayiv. So how can Rabbi Yossi say in our Mishnah pater? Answers the Gemara, Amar le shayni hasam. You cannot learn from there. Kevan dichsiv, because the pasuk says al pi Hashem yachanu, because the pasuk says that we are just relying on Hashem. We only camp wherever Hashem tells us to. So there's every possibility Hashem could have said, take down the walls and put them right back up. Whatever Hashem says, it's as if we would rebuild it in the same place. It's a difficult answer in Lamdus because we typically rely and lean on what happened in the Midbar, as we've done already in this Masechta a couple of times, where we said, this is how it happened in the Midbar. This is how it happened in the Midbar. And here we're saying, this is how it happened in the Midbar, but it's an exception and not the rule. Very unique answer. Okay, so that was the Gemara's answer. Let's give a second answer to this question of how Reb Shimon, how Reb Yossi could hold pater. Reb Yochanan Omar le'olam ki Reb Shimon svirle. Really, in our Mishnah, when we see that many cases are pater, but the case of the wick is going to be, the case of the wick is chayiv. So what does Reb Shimon hold? Really, le'olam ki Reb Shimon svirle. No, he doesn't hold like Reb Yehuda that malacha she'en tzricha legufa is chayiv. He holds like Reb Yossi, like Reb Shimon, that malacha she'en tzricha legufa is pater. If that's the case, then how is it that he's chayiv by the wick? Asks the Gemara, Ma'ishna psila. Why is it that by the wick, the Mishnah says that he's going to be chayiv? Answers the Gemara, remember, if you hold like Reb Shimon that malacha she'en tzricha legufa is going to be pater, is going to be, then it should be an Isser Derabanan. Here we see that it's chayiv. Umayshna psila. Why is the wick in our Mishnah chayiv if you hold like Reb Shimon? Reb Shimon holds malacha she'en tzricha legufa is pater. Answers the Gemara, Kedamar Rav Hamnuna ve'itema Rav Ada bar Ava hacha bepsila shetzarach lehav hava askinan. We are talking about a wick, that the way that you are going to make the wick good is by burning it a little bit and then blowing it out. That is the epitome of malacha as it relates to that item. So yes, it's true in general, Reb Yossi holds like Reb Shimon, and therefore malacha she'en tzricha legufa is pater, and therefore most of the cases in our Mishnah are pater, but not the wick, because by the wick, it's the type of wick where when you light it and blow it out, that's what makes it the perfect wick. That is its malacha. That is the perfect version of the malacha. That's not a malacha she'en tzricha legufa, and therefore you're going to be chayiv in that case. Even Reb Shimon would agree to dika mesakein mana. He is being mesakein mana. Mesakein mana, tikkun mana, is an equivalence in halacha to what we refer to in the 39 malachos as make bepatish. Make bepatish is the Isser de Oraisa, literally translated, of make, you're hitting bepatish with a hammer. Let's say that you're trying to build an item, and you take a hammer and you hammer in a nail. That's mamish the case of make bepatish. Says the Gemara here, this is the make bepatish. When you blow out the candle on this wick, because the best way to make this wick is to light the candle and then blow it out, so therefore that's the Spitz version of the malacha, and therefore you violate that Isser no matter what. Marava de kanami, we can bring a proof to this, the katani, because it says in the Brisa, shu ose pecham. He's making a pecham. He's making this beautiful type of wick. Not that it's being made. You're being osed. You're doing this malacha right now. Not that it's being made in a more passive language. What you're doing right now is the malacha. Therefore, even according to Rabbi Yossi, within the world of Reb Shimon, if Reb Shimon holds malacha she'en tzricha legufa as pater, then it should have been pater. But here, by the case of the wick, it needs to be burnt a little bit. It needs to be singed in order to make the perfect wick. So then, in such a case, even Reb Yossi in our Mishnah would still say, even Reb Shimon would still say that you're chayiv in such a case. Baruch Hashem, we finished another piece of Gemara, starting the Mishnah on the bottom of Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. Al shalosh averos nashim mesos b'shas leidasan. Rachmana litzlan, a woman could be subject to misa because of three things. If a woman is not makbid on nida, which we could understand implicitly, we know from Maseches Krisus that be'ila with a bowl, to be bowl and nida is eligible for kares. Chala is eligible for kares. Hadlakas neiros, these are dinei derabanan. What are we talking about here, Bichlal? We just learned a couple of blot ago. Where was that on Daf Chaf Hey? We learned that hadlakas neiros is a din derabanan. How could it be a din deraisa? It's all derabanan. Person could be chayiv misa. You got to get into the Gemara to see what's going on here. And these are the three categories. According to some portion, they point out that this spells chana, chala, nida, and hadlakas, and they're very interesting. That chana, as one of the matriarchs of connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we'll have to see in the Gemara maybe how this connects a little bit. Opens the Gemara 4 lines from the bottom on Lamed Aleph, on Lamed Beis, Amud Beis. Nida my taima, what is the reason by a nida that she is deserving of such a sharp punishment? Answers the Gemara, Amar Rav Yitzchak, he killed kala bechedrei bitna. In regards to her stomach, referencing her womb, she was mikalkeles. She made a mistake. Lefikach tilake bechedrei bitna. She will die that way as well. Says the Gemara, Teinach nida. I could understand the punishment of a nida. It's deoraisa, it's chedrei beten, it's part of her body. We understand. That makes perfect sense. Chalav hadlakas haner ma'ikal meimar. How are these things even in the same category? It's a wild comparison to say these three things are in the same category bichlal, other than to say that they're mitzvos that women do, but to say that they're at risk of death. Al shalosh averos nashim mesos b'shas leidasan. It's wild. Says the Gemara, Kididara Shahigali La'a Ale de Rav Chizda. This person who lived in the Galil, he commented on the opinion of Rav Chizda. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Revis dam nosati bechem. I kept you alive with a revis of blood, bottom Rashi on the page. Revis dam chai adam tuluyin ba. This is what we consider to be the minimum amount. It's not a medical amount, obviously, but a minimum amount of life with a revis of dam. Aliske dam, and because of that, Aliske dam is harti eschem. I therefore said you have to be careful with a little bit of blood. And that's a reference to the menstrual blood, to the dam needed. Turning to the top of Lamed Beis, Amud Aleph, Baruch Hashem, another blot. Reishis karasi eschem. I called you Reishis a number of times throughout the Torah. Aliske Reishis is harti eschem. Therefore, I gave you a mitzvah of challah to be makbid on Reishis, to make sure that you're giving over hafrashas challah. The next case of our Mishnah, Neshama nasati bochem kriya ner. I gave you a soul, which is referred to as a candle. Al iske ner isarti eschem, and therefore I gave you a mitzvah that deals with these things. So that's what the Gemara is saying. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us so much in all three of these areas. He gave so much to a woman in all three of these areas. That's what she's being asked to do. And then comes the sharp line. Imatem ekaimin osam muta. If you're going to fulfill all of them, good. V'im lav, but if not, hareni notel nishmaschem. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying that He has the right to take away a person's neshama. This is just a stark reminder of the fact that we are only zocha to whatever we have because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wills it to be the case. In the Sefer Tomer Devora by the Ramak of Moshe Cordovera, he writes that this is pshat mechalkel chaim bechesed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mechalkel us not with rachamim. Rachamim is a dependency. I see that you need money because you're poor. I'm going to give you something. That's not why we're alive. We're not alive because we need to be alive. We're alive because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be alive. And it's a very deep and poignant reminder of the phrase mechalkel chaim bechesed, one that is helpful to focus us in the early parts of davening, and that we don't even deserve what we have. We are never going to win out when we measure din with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that is just a reminder here in the Gemara. It says the Gemara, what does this have to do with childbirth? And the Gemara gives a variety of mashalim, one after the other, all with the same signon, all with the same concept, which is that when a woman is already in a scenario of risk, that is a time when there could be a kitrug on her, and therefore it's more risky. And here are the examples that are given. Avarava, examples that are given. Amar Rava nafal Torah, when the bull falls down, when the shore falls down, chadad the sakina, sharpen the knife. Very scary. Abaya Amar tafis tiros, when a person is gripped by rebellion. Amsa, when a woman is gripped by rebellion. Bechad machtara lehabe, with one hit you could hit her. And not literally, but conceptually. Rav Chizda Amar Shavke LeRavia, leave the drunk person alone. Dimi nafshe nafil, they're going to stumble and fall without your help. Again, all part of the same signon. Mar Ukva Amar Raya Chigra V'ize Riatan. If you have a shepherd who is a chigra, a chiger is someone who has a bad leg, someone who's not able to walk well. V'ize Rihatan, their animals are rihatan. Rihut in Aramaic means to run. Abav chutra mile, at the doorway you can have words. Ve'abav dare chushbana, and at the gates you are able to have a cheshbon. Basically, if he's standing in the right spot, then he can have some control. But it's a pure reference, as Rashi here points out, to a woman who is in this compromised scenario. Rav Papa Amar, above chanvasa, at the gateway of at the gate of a store, at the doorway of a store. Nefishe achem rachame, that's when things are peaceful and comfortable. Above bizyone, but when things are in a status of bizayon, lo ache v'lo merachame, there is no brotherhood, v'lo merachame, and there is no love. These are all scenarios of risk. Again, all mashals to indicate why it is at this point that a woman is subject to these fears, to these potential onshin. The gavre hecha mivdike, what about the men? We don't have childbirth. So when is it that we are subject to these risks? It's interesting that Gemara doesn't ask if we're subject to the risk. It's only a question of when we're subject to the risks, because everyone is going to have their down moments. Says the Gemara, Omar, for second of the wide lines, Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, Omar Reish Lakish B'Shasha over Malagesher, when a person is walking over a bridge. Asks the Gemara, Gesher B'Sul, oh, that's it? The only time when so don't ever walk on a bridge. walk around, take the circuitous route. What does that even mean? Gesher v'sulo, there's no other circumstance when a person has to be concerned, when a man should be concerned that there's a kitrug on him. Answers the Gemara, Ema ke'ein gesher, don't be such a nudnik, you're picking up on all the grammar here. No, it's anything that has an element of risk to it. Rav lo avar b'mivra the yasi be'akum. Rav would never go in a boat in which it was shared by an akum, someone who was an ovdei kochavim umazalos. Omar dilma mifkad le'dina alei umas pisna b'hadei. Maybe that person will have a din on him. The guy will have a din on him that he's chayiv misa, and I'll get caught up in the process, and I'll die too. So Rav never went on a boat that way. Shmuel lo avar ela b'mivra the east be'akum. Shmuel was the opposite. He would only go in a boat that had a guy in it. Oh, you're all Yidden? I'll take the next elevator. Thank you very much. Why? Omar, he said, Sitna betray ume lo shalit. The Satan cannot be sholet. He cannot control over two nations at the same time. Continues the Gemara of Yanai Badig V'Amar. He was the pragmatist. He would check. He'd make sure everything is safe. And then he'd get in the boat. Rav Yanai Latame, he would, sorry, this was talking about the bridge, excuse me. Rav Yanai would look at the bridge. He'd make sure that the bridge was stable. Not every state has wonderful bridges. Rav Yanai Latame, Da'amar Lo'olam al Yamod Adam B'Makom Sakana. A person should never intentionally be in a Makom Sakana. Lomar She'osin Lo Nes. We don't want to be in a scenario where we need a miracle. If we need a miracle, then we should beg for one. But if we don't need a miracle, we should not be begging for them. Shema ein osin lo nes. First of all, maybe the nes won't happen. And second of all, v'im osin lo nes. If you do menaken lo mizichu yosef, if you have a pile of merits, getting a nes reduces your number of merits. You don't want to have a nes. You don't want to be subject to a nes. The nisim that took place anywhere in history, they were menake. They reduced the number of zechuyos that anyone in particular may have had. Continues the Gemara, Amar of Chanin Maikra. How do we know that a person loses a percentage of their zechuyos when a nes happens? Because the pasuk says, "By Yaakov katonti mikola chasadim umikola emes katonti." You lowered my number here. You lowered what's in my bank account. Mikola chasadim umikola emes, from all the goodness that you've given me. Rabbi Zera b'yomo deshusa, when it was windy outside, and a day deshusa, when it was windy, lo nafig labene dikle. He would not go out when it was windy in between the trees. Just dangerous. Got to be smart. Got to be practical. Amar of Yitzchak Bered Rav Yehuda lo mivakei shadam rachem mishalo yechela. A person should always daven, especially now, but a person should always daven that they should not get sick. She'im yechela omrim lo habeis chus v'hi pater. Because what's your starting point? If you're not sick, so then you have to daven to stay healthy. If you are sick, then you have to be megalas chus. You have to find a reason to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make you healthy again. So let's start with the right footing. Let's try to start off with the fact that we're healthy. Maharal Prague writes, I don't remember where, I have a Maharal behind me, but I'd have to find it, and I don't know where it is right now. The Maharal Prague writes, and this is not me talking, please don't misquote me. The Maharal Prague writes that if a person's hashkafas are all yashar, if they've done good cheshbonos and nefesh, they pasha don't get sick. Sick is a direct message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there are answers to that question. We'll see today what some of those zechuyos are, and hopefully we can each try and find a way to be makabel on ourselves to grow in those areas when we get there. So that's why we always should daven when we're healthy to stay healthy. And if, God forbid, a person is unhealthy, shem yechel, if he does get sick, omrim lo, he should find some merit in order to get out of the illness. Amar marukva ma'ikra, how do we know that that's the case, that a person should daven for themselves even when they are not sick? Hashem, please don't make me sick. Answers the Gemara from the story from the halachos of by mak. Yeah, we have to make something on our roof. Why? Ki yipol hanofel mimenu, because a person could fall. What is the person who's falling called? Hanofel. He hasn't fallen yet. The guy standing on the roof, ki yipol hanofel. The guy might fall. He's a nofel. He's not a nofel until he's a nofel. So why are you calling him a nofel in the pasuk? Says the Gemara, mimenu, sorry, yipol hanofel mimenu laviraya, from him. That's how we bring the proof. He was called a nofel even when he was alive. It's a very similar language. Tana the Rabbi Shmuel. Yipol hanofel mimenu ra'ui zel yipol misheshes yemei breshis. This was decreed already. It was decreed from Yemei Breshis that that he was going to be nofel sharei lo nofal v'hakasuv kiro nofel. He hasn't fallen yet. The pasuk calls him a nofel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a system that is fair, a system that is balanced, that when one is eligible for zechus, he gets it, and when one is eligible for chova, he also gets it. Excuse me 1 second, please. Middle of the blot, Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, 2 dots. Tana Rabbana Mishachol V'Nata Lamus, if a person Rachmana Litzlan is sick and they are leaning toward death, Omrim Lo Hisvade. We should say to that person that you should do vidui. Shekain kol hamumsin misvaden. because anyone who is on their deathbed should say vidui. There have been a lot of shilas swirling nowadays. I've seen them in some of the chats that I'm in for American rabbis as it relates to my work at the OU. People saying vidui for other people who are not conscious. That's also appropriate under those circumstances as well. What about Adam Yotze Lashuk? A person's going out to the marketplace. Your hashkafa klape shmaya. How should you be thinking about your relationship with Hashem when you're going out? There are dangers there. We don't know what the dangers are. There are dangers there. So then it should be as though in your mind that you've already been caught by the officers. Chash berosho, you have a terrible headache. You're already in chains. You're sick enough to get in bed. You're already standing on the chopping block. You're already on that dangerous place where the executioner stands. Anyone who's already on that platform, if you got a good law firm behind you, you'll be okay. But if you can't argue for yourself, it's motzi mechaver, all about raya. You have to be able to prove to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that I'm shaveh. But if I'm not shaveh, then what's my argument? And we always have to make sure, like we say by the halachos of tshuva, by the Yavin Oraim, that our scales are always tipped in the favor of Averos. We should always view ourselves as Beinonim, we're 50-50, and every act we do will tip the scales one way or the other. The Elu Hein Praklitin Shel Adam. You want a good lawyer? There are two things that we can do. Two things that we should work on constantly, regularly, all the time. Tshuva u'ma'asim tovim. We should constantly be focused on making ourselves better, improving, not out of guilt. Not out of guilt. Guilt is not Jewish. We joke about it. Guilt is not a Jewish thing. We should change because we're better than that. We should change because the Kadosh Baruch Hu believes in us. The model is that he's the coach on the sideline. You missed your shot. You did the foul. Okay, step up your game. Time to improve. Umaisim tovim, to do actions that are good. This is a very vague phrase, very difficult to understand in scope what it means. And we'd have to dig into the Rishonim and into the Achurim to figure out exactly what it means. But the erech, we need to make sure our praklitim, our good lawyers, if we get into a bind, we want to be able to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I've done tshuva and I have masim tovim. So please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, be nitzal, save me from this circumstance. It's 999 bad deeds. You've got 999 marks on the wall against you. The echad melamed alav schus, and one malach of the 1,000 says, wait, he did a mitzvah. Baruch Hashem nitzal. Kadosh Baruch Hu says that you are going to be saved. You have one of 1,000 angels on your side. He says slightly differently. Not if there are 1,000 angels, but even if there's one angel who's tallying up all of your errors. Still you'll be saved. That's a lot of rachamim. 2 dots, 9 lines from the bottom of the page. Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis have taught us something similar to our Mishnah with which we started. Tanu Rabbanon, al shalosh averos nashim esos yoldos. There are 3 averos for which a woman will die during childbirth. And here is another lashon, not one that we find in our Mishnah, only one that we find here. Machlokes Chachamim and Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar Omer nashim esos yelados Rachmana litzlan, that their children will receive the consequence. Ravacha Amar be'avon shemechabsos tzos b'neihen b'Shabbos. He says the reason why women are going to die in childbirth is if they clean up tzoah of b'neihem, they clean up the fecal matters, the dirty diapers, but they do so in a way where they're violating the issur of libun. The Rishonim here, of course, what's libun? Libun is one of 39. If they break the other malachos, then they're not. It's not b'shas leidasan. What does it have to do with leida? So maybe it's related to the fact that it's the child. The child is from the womb, and the isha could be related. But the kid's already born. She'll die in a future childbirth. So a little difficult to understand what pshat in the Gemara is. But I was at someone's house. I watched this happen, that a child made a big mess, and someone took a squirt bottle, and they were spraying their carpet and scrubbing, which is mamish libun deraisa. That's a big problem in the postgame. And just to be super clear, this is very common during the week. You see something on your suit, you lick your finger and you rub your suit. L'chora, that's an issur deraisa. We should make sure that if in fact we have something stained on our suit, we scratch it with our nail. It's dry only. We do not use any liquid when it comes to cleaning on Shabbos. Otherwise that would be a serious issur. Look into the halachic svarim about cleaning off stains on Shabbos that are wet already. Not so simple to do that on Shabbos, even if it ruins the garment. We're obligated to give up all of our finances to prevent violating an issur d'oraisa. The Yeshomrim, some say the reason why they are held accountable is al shikorin la aron hakodesh arna. If a person refers to an aron hakodesh as a closet, the comparison's a little shocked. Now, when we say the word aron, just make sure the Torah is in the aron. That's still a respectable term. The word arna here is a social word that they use, which refer to as a closet. If we would have said, is the Sefer Torah in the closet, that's not a lashon that's respectable. And therefore, and here too, we have to ask the same question: what's the link between this, the aron and the Sefer Torah comes out of the aron? The woman, this is her rechem. It's birthing time. So that's where sometimes people could make the jump and see that's where we get the minhag of people opening the aron during the 9th month of pregnancy. Okay. 6 lines from the bottom at the 2 dots. Tanya Rabbi Shmuel ben Elazar Omer ba'avon shnei dvarim amei haaretz mesin. Amei haaretz, people who are uneducated. We should be clear. We learned about an am haaretz earlier in the Masech that these people are really not uneducated. We are uneducated. These people were well educated. And what were the 2 things that they did wrong? Al shekorin la aron hakodesh arna. They would call the aron hakodesh by the language of arna, a closet. Al shekorin beis hakneses, beis am. They would refer to a shul as a beis am, just a house of the people, no kedusha. 3 lines from the bottom. Tanya, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Shlosha bidke misa nivru b'isha. There are 3 checkpoints of death, Rahman al-Litzlan, dangerous points in a woman's life where we check to see if she's eligible for misa. The amrei la, some say Shlosha divke misa, 3 things that stick to a person. They have this din on them that they hover over you. Nida v'chalav ad lokas anir. Chada, what is the machlokas between bidke and Shlosha, bidke and divke? Chada kerev elazar, the chada kerabanan, and like the machlokas we saw 6 lines up between the shita of the Tanakama and the shita of Rebbe Elazar. Each of these opinions can be understood like one of them. The Gemara does not detail which one is like which. Last line of the page. Tanya, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Hilchos Hekdesh Trumos Umaisros Hein Gufei Torah. This is the essence. This is the beauty of Torah, making things that are profane and making them holy. This is what Jews do. We take things that are otherwise physical and inanimate and lacking kedusha, and we elevate them. That is the Yiddish. That is exactly what we do. We take technology, we make it holy. We take clothing, we make it holy. We l'chavet Shabbos Kodesh. We can take our beard. We're going to hopefully, some of us cut our hair already. I clearly need a haircut. I don't know who's going to cut my hair, but we'll figure it out. So, but that we make it Kodesh. It's all l'chavet Shabbos Kodesh. These are dinim and Shulchan Aruch. Every last thing we do, we tie our shoes. There's a kedusha in that. And that will hopefully help us to stay elevated. The Nimsaru, this was even passed over la'amei ha'aretz. We even passed this over to amei ha'aretz in that they have ne'emanus by trumos and maestros, because we say rov amei ha'aretz ma'asrin hein. That's an assumption. We say we know we have a Maseches called demai, which is a suffix of tevel if it was me'aser or not. But when it could be dina, technically midoraisa, we hold that if a person is an am ha'aretz, we assume that they took off trumos and maestros. Top of the line, Lamed Beis, Lamed Beis. Tanya, Rabbi Nassan Omer, Ba'avu Nadar Mesa Isha Shal Adam, Rahman al-Litzlan. With the sin of Nadarim, a person making false Nadarim to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, I should say, not false. They made a Neder and they didn't keep it. Mesa Isha Shal Adam. What does she have anything to do with this? Why is she being punished? So some of the Meforshim explain that she must have been a part of the mix. Obviously, it wouldn't be reasonable for her to have an ownership that she had nothing to do with. What's the text proof for this? Shne'emar, you're not even fulfilling your own things, so then that which is your mishkav, that is relative to your bed, will receive the consequence. Rabbi Omer, pay attention here to the Rabbi, because we're going to come back as well to another name of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, as we will see soon. Rabbi Omer ba'avon nadarim banim mesim rachman al-litzlan kshem tanim. Young children can pass away with the avon of nadarim. We have to make sure that we have avon nadarim. One of the many reasons why we say kol nidre and Yom Kippur, this is but of the many of them, that we have to make sure that when we walk into Yom Kippur, we don't have any gzeros hanging over our heads. So it doesn't sound like if you just walked into the shul for the first time, kol nidre, what is all the drama? The drama is very significant because the onesh of avon nadarim is banim mesim. It's a terrible consequence. So we have to be very careful with that and regularly say, bli neder, bli neder, bli neder, bli neder should be on our lips all the time when we make commitments to people. Shne'emar, al titenes picha lachatis b'tzarcha ve'al tomar lifnei amalch ki shegagahi lama yiksofa elokim al kolcha ve'chaval es ma'aseh yadecha. Why is he going to destroy your ma'aseh yadecha? What are the products of a person? That could be the punishment of the avon of Nadarim, of not keeping one's Nadarim to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tanu Rabbanan, 9 lines down. Avon Nadarim banim mesim divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Reb Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi Omer. We just quoted him as Rabbi on the top of the page. There he said it was Avon Nadarim, the kids died. What does he say here? Omer ba'avon bittul Torah. It's not with the Avon of Nadarim, it's with the Avon of bittul Torah. Bishlam alaman damar. We'll get back to this question momentarily. Bishlam alaman damar be'avon nedarim kide amra. We saw already on the top of the page psukim that indicate why the onish goes to the children. Ma'ase yada, but that we saw already. Elalaman damar bittul Torah mikra. What's the pasuk to say that a person should have such a sharp onish by bittul Torah? The pasuk says, "Lashavi kesi espenechem musar lo lakacha." You didn't take your time, musar, from me for being lashav, for wasting your time. From Nachman Vayitzchak Amar Lamandam Rabbi Nadarim Nami Mehacha. He says it could be from the same pasuk by Avon Nadarim as well. How Lashavi Kesi Espenechem, for that which was emptied by you, your Nadarim, you're going to get a consequence. Al Iskei Shav, because of that which you did, which was not right. You didn't keep your promise. Michti, the Gemara asks a question. We saw a few lines ago, Rabbi Huda Hanasi Hainu Rebbe. The Rabbi be'avon nadarim kamar. The first time we saw Rabbi, he said that the consequence of children is because of avon nadarim. The second time we saw him with a different name, Rabbi Huda Hanasi, there we said it wasn't because of avon nadarim, but it was because of bittul Torah. Answers the Gemara, Basar the Shama, Rabbi Loz of Reb Shimon. He changed his answer. That once he heard the answer of Rabbi Loz of Reb Shimon, he felt that pshat was a little bit different, and therefore he changed his answer to the avon of bittul Torah. 1/3 of the way down. Pligi bar Rav Chia bar Abba Rav Yossi. Machlokas Amoraim between Rav Chia bar Abba and Rav Yossi. Very early Amoraim. Chad Amar ba'avon mezuzah. V'chad Amar ba'avon bittul Torah. If a person's going to not be good with the mitzvah of mezuzah, then there's a sharp consequence. And one says it's the sin of bittul Torah. L'man de Amar ba'avon mezuzah. This is a lamdasha answer. Mikra nidrash lefanav below lifnei fanav. The pasuk that speaks about Laman Yerbu Yemechem, the pasuk before that is Uchsav Tam, which is the mezuzah. So we are dorish the pasuk that's lefanav. Below livnei fanav v'di barta bam, the pasuk 2 before that speaks about Talmud Torah, that we're not dorish. So therefore he says that we only look back one pasuk, and therefore the avon is by mezuzah. But if you keep mezuzah, it's a richus yamim. If you don't keep it, Rahman al-Islan, no richus yamim. Ulman damar ba'avon bittul Torah mikra nidrash lefanav v'lifnei fanav. We can go back 2 psukim to make the drasha. So the 2 psukim before the man Yerbu Yemechem is going to be the pasuk of Ishina, is speaking about learning Torah with our children. So therefore the pasuk is 2 prior can still indicate that way, and therefore we have a Mari Makom, both for the shita that holds that the one who's not makbid with mezuzah can get an onesh, and one who is not makbid with bittul Torah. That brings us to the 2 dots, middle of the page. Pligi bar Rav Meir Rav Yehuda machlokes amoraim. Chadam Rabbi Avon mezuzah v'chadam Rabbi Avon tzitzis. One says that the avon is that the dangerous avon is the mitzvah of mezuzah, and one says that it's by tzitzis. We have to make sure that we check our mezuzahs twice in 7 years, but just to make sure that they're kosher. This is one of many reasons. Says the Gemara as follows: the second to last of the short lines. Bishlam alaman damar bavon mezuzah dechsivu chsav tamam mezuzos beisechel chsiv basrei laman yerbu yemechem imevenechem. Obviously, the psukim there we understand why mezuzah, why there's an indicator that it is dangerous to not keep the mitzvah mezuzah carefully, because it says that you should the mitzvah mezuzah chsav tamam mezuzos beisechel, and then afterwards it says laman yerbu yemechem. I gotcha, no problem. Tzitzis my time. What's the deal? Why by tzitzis are we so concerned? It says the Gemara, Amar of Kahana v'tema Shila Mari Dichsiv, because the pasuk says Gam bechnafecha nimtzu dam nefashos evyonim nekiyim. Bechnafecha, the corners, referring to tzitzis. Nimtzu dam nefashos. So we have the reference to those who would have dam nefashos, death. 3 lines into the widest lines of Nachman Rayitzchak Amar. You can also learn another Marin Makom, another source to teach us about a mezuzah. In the tunnels you will not find them. And what is the drasha? You made your doorways like a tunnel. You didn't even treat them properly by putting on a mezuzah on them, and that can be dangerous. Amar Reish Lakish. Kol hazahir b'tzitzis zochem mishamshin lo beis alafim v'ches meos avadim. Anyone who is careful with the mitzvah of tzitzis merits to see 2,800 servants. Shne'emar, where do we get this from? We're going to learn the math. Ko amar Hashem, Hashem said, Bayamim ha'hema asher yachaziku asara anashim mikol leshonos hagoyim. 10 people, mikol leshonos hagoyim, from all of the languages of the world. And there were shivim, that's 700. 10 people from each of the languages, so that's 700. Bichnaf ish Yehudi leimor nel chaimachem, for every corner. So you have 10 people from each of the 70 nations. That's 700 people. And 700 people are holding onto each corner of the tzitzis. Of course, this is a homily. 700 times 4 is 2,800. Thus, the promise in the Gemara, and again, it doesn't mean in this world, it means in the next, that there will be 2,800 avadim in the next world if one would be makbid on the mitzvah of tzitzis. Of course, not at night, but during the day for sure. The Gemara is now going to quote a siman. We're not going to translate all the words because we're going to learn about them in the Gemara. Not all tonight, but some tonight. Siman, we're going to learn about Sina, Chala, Truma, Nigzelas, Dina, Shvua, Shifuchta, Giluya, Venivlusa. And tonight we're going to start with just a couple of them. Tanya, Reb Nechemya Omer, Ba'avon Sina, Schina, Mariva, Rabba, B'soch, Beso, Shel Adam. If a person violates the avon of Sina, Schina, Meriva Rabba B'soch Beso Shel Adam, there will be a lot of fighting, a lot of infighting in a person's family. V'ishto mapelas nefalim, God forbid, a woman will have a nefel, she'll have stillborns. Ubanav uvnosav shel adam mesim kshem ktanim. Nebuch, awful consequences for sinas chin, and we have to love everybody just unconditionally. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer Bavon Chala, ein bracha b'mechunas. If a person is not makbid on the mitzvah of chala, there will be no bracha on the mechunas, on that which you've collected, that which you have sitting in your bank account. No bracha on that at all. You'll have curses that will be sent into your gateways. You'll plant seeds and others will eat them. Long pasuk. Afaniya says, I'll do this to you. Behala, we'll be dorish that word in a minute. These terrible diseases. You're going to plant empty. Other people are going to eat it. But if in fact you do give chala misparchin, you'll get the bracha. If a person taka does give the chala, then they'll have a bracha on their house. 2 dots, 12 lines from the bottom. If a person's not going to give trumos umaisros, the heavens will stop from letting rain come down. Tal umatar, dew and rain. The market's going to go high, things will be expensive for you. You're going to lose your profits. People will be chasing after their finances, they will not be able to achieve them. If a person, even during the summer, is not going to do good, then we'll even have a consequence during the sheleg. My mashma, Tana de Rabbi Shmuel. What is implied from here? Let's see what Rabbi Shmuel has to say. That which I commanded you to do in the summer, namely to be mafresh, trumos, and maestros when you're harvesting your fields, below asisem, and you didn't do that. I'm going to have to give you a consequence in the other time of the year. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. I'm going to give you a consequence in the mosag shamim. Mosag shamim doesn't mean what Chicago has. Sorry, swallowed something there. It means that there will be a consequence during the Amos Hag Shamim. Wow, totally can't talk. Hold on 1 second. And if we do give it, we will have a bracha. Shneimar, Heviu es kol ha'maaser al beis ha'otzar, v'hiteref bebeisi uvechinuni, no bezos amar Hashem tzevakos, im lo eftach lachem sarubos hashamayim. If I don't open the heavens for you, then I will give you the reward. Varikosi lachem bracha ad belidai. My ad belidai. What does it mean that if I don't give on my end, I'll give you a tremendous reward? What is ad belidai? Amar Rami Barab, Amar Rab, Ad sheyivalu sifsosechem milomar belidai. I'm going to give you so much, you're not going to be able to tolerate all the good. And because of that, you're going to say, please stop giving me. We are done. And in fact, we are done here as well. We'll take a break and we're going to learn tomorrow night Daf Lamed Gimel, perfect rectangle shape there. And as well, Lamed Gimel, Lamed Beis, and then most of Lamed Daled. Mr. Hashem will pick up tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow night is going to be the last shir that we have before Pesach. We're not having shir on Wednesday. We will be having shir Motzei Yontiv. And just to review the schedule, every regular weeknight we will have shir at 9 p.m. Every Motzei, Shabbos, and Yontiv we will have shir at 9:30. Always a blot and a half. I will always try to do that. There may be scenarios that I can't, but until now I've managed. and I hope to continue to do so. But in general, a blot and a half until the schedule evens out, whenever that is. I haven't even figured out when it is. My schedule doesn't allow for more than this, so that's just what we're going to have to do. But we will stop here tonight, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.